Okay, so Sudhir Rao,
Yeah.
thank you. So basically, if you can just talk about, you're an investor, how do you see the landscape of India now emerging, where we've had Bangalore as a startup hub, Delhi to a certain extent, but now what's happening at grassroots level in India, where we're talking about, a lot of grassroots entrepreneurial MSMEs coming up. How do you see the intersection of technology playing in that?
I think it's a never before moment actually, in many ways for Bharat. If you go back over the last decade, you rightly pointed out it's been Bangalore, Delhi, which have received most of the money, whatever 130, 140 billion dollars of VC and private equity has come in to new ways of looking at the economy, using technology undoubtedly as a very pivotal element to the way new businesses should actually be built. And over the last 10 years, I think the big construct is really the public infrastructure that's coming, the digital public infrastructure, or the digital public goods, as it's also called. And I think if you look at how we're going to see this pan out in the next decade, it's going to be even more rapid. So the events of the jam and UPI, that's well understood. I think the next emerging wave is for what you just talked about, is including entrepreneurial talent, whoever it is, wherever they are. And it can only be done because it will be all digitally connected. You will not be sort of hindered because you have a particular location you're in. It's entirely based on how you think, how you go about things, and there'll be a convergence of these infrastructure assets that will be made available for the smallest, quote unquote, smallest micro entrepreneur. And that will be the unleashing of the ONDC, OCAN, account aggregators, CBDC. So there's a whole new set of assets that are coming in to play. And I think that's going to make a significant difference for the next generation of entrepreneurs. It won't really matter whether they're in what, according to you, is a small town. Is it a district headquarter? Is it a village? And so maybe I'll give you an example. We have an investment in a dairy technology company, which is present in 40,000 villages. And I'm saying villages. These are villages which can have 50 to 100 people, no pakka homes, truly rural in many ways. They do have a cow or a buffalo, and it provides milk for the family. And beyond what they consume, they actually sell it to the neighboring cooperative that's been constructed over the last 70 years. But this company, Stellabs, is now in that arena. And it began with putting IoT devices on the cloud to measure the quality of milk and price it based on the quality of milk. So we grade and price. And now, more recently, we've begun procuring that milk because we can see the grade, we can actually price it better if the grades are better, and we can now literally take it to the farm. And so we're in over 1,200 villages off these 40,000 villages where we actually even run the entire procurement. And the changeover for a farmer is that he's holding a phone like yours, which has a herd management system, which has got Aadhaar-enabled payment systems. It's got digital payments inside. It's got the entire range of technologies for that little farmer with 5 acres, a marginal farmer, to really leapfrog into becoming the micro-entrepreneur that we're talking of, right? Every farmer is a micro-entrepreneur for their own little 5 acre. How do they run their own portfolio of product? Are they productive about the portfolio that they have? And our interventions have been assistive deep in that system, where you take a small village with 50 people, 50 families, of which in that village 18 of them don't even have land, they're landless, 32 have it. In those 32 with about 5 acres each is the possibility of doing something, right? So you can do an SEZ or a big campus in say 150 acres, or you can think about 150 acres in a village and see how do you change them into productivity. And glad to say that from what used to be 50,000 rupees of milk per month is now 600,000 rupees of milk per month flow. And we can see this going to 2 million to 3 million rupees, benefiting very clearly. And incidentally, we've put in cattle loans, we've got cattle insurance, we've got so all the so-called urban access is now at the flip of a button made available for 38 families. And in 18-20 months, you can start seeing that benefit. So to me, that micro entrepreneur, and then coming backwards all the way to a large entrepreneur, let's say I have to sell cattle feed, we're actually provisioning that. We have a mineral mix that is a Dutch company. We're able to take it down to this village. So you're talking about truly mixing, melding through technology, because technology gives us visibility, technology gives us ability to measure, technology allows us to have matrices. And I think that is the new wave that one's going to expect. They'll be able to sell their produce on ONDC tomorrow. They don't need to necessarily sell it to me. And so the notion of free market economics, but with guardrails, with being enabled through technology, is something that you're going to see at scale. So it's not like, we're not talking about 1, 2. We already have 3 million farmers for whom we're already providing them visibility on grading and pricing. But that entire set of people can be morphed into being more productive, quality conscious, making themselves sort of transparently available for traceability. And we're deploying electric vehicle technologies to transport the last layer. We're deploying energy efficiency in chilling. So you can think of horizontal sets of technologies, but all made available for one village. So you think about it as the big convergence of technology-enabled entrepreneurship. And I think if that solves the question, that's the first question. Long answer, but yes, it's going to be different.